Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey. My name's Neil, and today we're here to talk about the trade deadline. And you know what? We're almost there. Tick tock, just a little over 3 weeks now, and we'll be there at March 1st, one of the most exciting days for hockey fans, trade deadline day. So with that said, let's go over a few names and a few teams that are kind of kicking the tires on one another, and let's see where potential players could go, and maybe more importantly, where they could not go or potentially stay where they are. So of all the names in the NHL, I've picked six names that we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to say who their name has been associated with in the rumors recently, and then we'll dive in a little bit deeper for each player. So first we have Matt Duchene. He's been linked to Montreal, the Islanders, Buffalo, LA, Columbus, Nashville, and New Jersey. And I'm sure there's more, but that's just a few of the teams that are kind of inquiring about Duchene at this point. Next, we have Vanek, and I'm hearing Chicago, maybe Montreal again, which kind of doesn't really make sense to me because they've already kind of given him a chance, and it worked out okay, but it wasn't a good fit. Next, we have Shattenkirk, and teams linked to him are Toronto, Montreal, Tampa, Boston, and New Jersey. And fourth on the list, we have Bishop, and he's been linked to the Flyers, the Blues, and Colorado. Second last on our list, we have Landeskog, and he's been linked to Toronto, Boston, and LA. And last on our list, and probably the oldest on our list, Fluery, and he's been linked to the Jets, the Blues, and the Stars. So with that said, let's rewind and go back to the first player I mentioned, Matt Duchene. I think there's a 50% chance he gets traded. So I'm kind of leaning towards not being traded just because his asking price is so high. But on the flip side, if he does get traded, I'm picking Montreal as the team who claims him. And for a couple of reasons. Number one, he would be an absolute perfect fit in Montreal. He's a center, which they desperately need. He's a scoring center, which they absolutely desperately need. And I think just in general, he would fit well in there. Now, unfortunately, like I said, the asking price is high, so Montreal would have to give up names potentially like Beaulieu, Jolson, a first, a second, and they might even need to make a conditional second to get the deal done with Sakic. And even if they do make the deal happen, Montreal's still going to have to make some kind of secondary trade to make the cap room. So that either means goodbye Desharnais or goodbye Plekanec. So one of those two players could potentially be gone. And I think that's probably a good thing for Montreal. Next on the list, we have Thomas Vanek, the veteran. And my pick for his trade is Chicago. Yes, he will get traded, and I do believe it will be Chicago for a couple of reasons. But mainly he's kind of a veteran at this point, and I think Chicago would consider him a pretty valuable veteran for their team, and he could provide a lot of secondary scoring. Chicago already has its superstars, and there wouldn't be that pressure on Vanek to be that number one or number two or even number three scoring guy. He could play on a second or third line role and still contribute pretty well. And just thinking of who Chicago could send back, I think they could probably make the cap room with getting rid of a minor body, but most likely you'll see some picks moving back. And number three on the list, we have Shattenkirk. Now, this is one of the biggest names that's been rumored for the past couple of weeks, and for good reason. He's on his last year in St. Louis, and it's been rumored, maybe even a bit more than rumored, maybe confirmed that St. Louis probably can't re-sign him just because of the asking price of what he's going to want for a contract. So St. Louis is going to try and move him before the trade deadline so they don't have to see him walk at the end of the season and not get anything. So who's my pick on where Shattenkirk goes? Toronto Maple Leafs. Yes, I think that Shattenkirk will be traded and will be going to the Toronto Maple Leafs for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think that Shattenkirk is the perfect long-term defensive option for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I know he's not young, so when I say long-term, I don't mean for the next 15 years. I mean for the next, 7 years. But if he went to Toronto, that's kind of a potential team that he could sign with. So he could get his feet wet in Toronto for the end of the season and potentially in the playoffs. And there's two key factors in Toronto right now that would be a very intriguing reason for Shattenkirk to stay, and that is Marner, and that's Matthews. So, the future's bright for Toronto, and I can't imagine why Shattenkirk wouldn't want to be a part of that. And in return, I had trouble with this one. I'm not really sure who Toronto would send in return, but there would definitely be picks involved. Toronto doesn't really have anything that St. Louis really wants. And on number 4 on our list, Bishop. Will he get traded? Yes, he will get traded. I believe that Bishop will get traded to Winnipeg. And for one very important reason, the Winnipeg goaltending sucks right now. And it just doesn't suck a little bit, it sucks a lot of it. It's terrible. They're last in the league. And goals against, they have 172 goals against so far, and that's not good. That's unacceptable. Winnipeg is better than that, and if they get solid goaltending back there, they can be a better team. And I think the answer lies in Bishop. He could be a potentially long-term 5 to 7 years option for Winnipeg. I think that he provides a lot of value, especially since he's such a big commanding goaltender. I think he's going to fit in really well in Winnipeg. Moving on to number 5, we have Landeskog. And do I think he'll get traded? No, he will not get traded. I do not think that Landeskog will get traded. I think he's staying in Colorado. I just don't see the cards playing in their favor. I think that he's not going anywhere. He's going to stay put in Colorado for now, but he will probably move in the offseason. And last on the list, we have Fluery. Do I think he's going to get traded? No, I don't. I don't think Fleury's going to get traded because he is too valuable to Pittsburgh right now. And yes, he is the backup. Murray is the starter. Murray's playing really well. And Fleury's, when he does get a chance to play, he's not a superstar. But Pittsburgh needs Fluery. If Murray gets hurt, I think Fluery has the capability, the experience, and just the general drive to compete hard. And if he's called upon by Pittsburgh to slap on those skates and tend the net, Fleury's going to do that, and I think he will succeed. And even if he does get the call, I don't think Pittsburgh keeps him long term. I think he's gone in the offseason. They're not going to protect him or Murray with the expansion draft coming up. They're going to want to protect Murray. So Fluery, I think your days are numbered in Pittsburgh at the end of this year at the most. So you know what? It was a good run, but your time has come to an end, just like this video. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. I really appreciate it. And, none of these are any legitimate. They're just kind of rumors that I've read online. A little bit of other people's opinions, a little bit of my opinions, and I just kind of combine them all. So let me know what you think below. Do you think any of these names will be traded? Do you think none of these names will be traded? Let me know in the comments below, or hit me up on Facebook. I'm at Post to Post Show there, or on Twitter. I'm at Post to Post Show there. Otherwise, leave a comment below talking about anything hockey. I'll be sure to chime in and have a little discussion with you. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Adios.